The music of The Evil of the Daleks is some of the richest that Simpson scored for Doctor Who. Besides the electronics, there's flute and alto flute, clarinet and bass clarinet, oboe and English horn, French horn, cello, piano, guitar, marimba and vibraphone, and percussion. The harsh, buzzing electronics of the Dalek music beautifully contrasts the lush music for the lush 19th century mansion that is the setting for 5 of the 7 episodes. When making my initial transcription, as with any piece of music, I wanted there to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. The theme itself is found in episode 3, as the Daleks move their hostage, Victoria, from one room to a less accessible one. Frightened and bewildered by her imprisonment, her theme reflects not only her beauty, but also the pathos of her situation. A small fragment of the theme is heard in episode 4, when Jamie and Kemmel, preparing to rescue her, first see Victoria and marvel at her beauty. We hear the full theme again, divided up differently, in episode 6's scenes, with Victoria and Kemmel held in a prison cell on the Dalek home planet, Skaro. That theme in episode 3 ends with a brief coda that fades out as the next scene begins. I soon realized that Victoria's introduction scene in episode 2 began with music very similar to this coda. It made musical sense then to use the episode 2 music as an introduction. Then the repeated theme with Coda would follow. I composed 2 final measures that completed the original arrangement. When it came to compiling other instances of the Victoria theme, it was a much simpler process. In The Ice Warriors, the same few seconds of theme-related music is heard twice in episode 2, this time arranged for organ and mallet percussion. First, at the beginning of the scene where Varga has hidden himself and his hostage, Victoria, in a storeroom. Victoria. Hostage. Sounds like a theme. Second, as leader Clint tells Jamie that his job is to help save the world from glaciers and not to save Victoria. As I mentioned, the one instance of the theme in the Fury from the Deep score is the very end of episode 6, as Victoria, staying behind, waves goodbye forlornly to the Doctor and Jamie. Here, an unaccompanied melody begins with her theme, then develops into a plaintive farewell. The only question remaining was how to incorporate these additional cues into my original arrangement. After much experimenting, I settled on the version you hear. The intro and first theme statement from Evil begins the piece. But before the second statement of the theme, the Ice Warriors cue is inserted. After the second statement plus the coda, but minus my composed ending, the piece concludes with the poignant goodbye music from Fury. The piece is largely in 6/8 time, a triple meter with a lilting flow. The introductory music begins with a fragment of the oboe's theme in A minor. It's harmonized with lovely major thirds in the flute and clarinet. These begin with thirds a half step below the melody's held E, and fall to form an augmented triad, then a major 7th chord. From here, the melody falls from a high A to notes suggesting a bit of G major. Apart from a minor third at the high A, the harmony continues in major thirds, briefly rubbing a half step away, then falling through various juicy harmonies and settling on a B augmented chord. The full theme begins now, again in the oboe, but here suggesting G minor. Simpson again shows his compositional brilliance by choosing to harmonize this G minor melody with something else. Starting with G in the cello, as expected, but the expected G minor guitar chord has an added E flat, the minor 6th. When the cello reaches down for an alternating note, it's not a D as expected, but C. This is a very subtle bitonality here, a melody in G minor, but harmonized with a closely related C minor 9 that contains notes of the G minor chord. The melody's first phrase ends with a chromatic resolution to A and some nebulous harmony below by the bass clarinet and alto flute. In addition, the rhythm stretches here 2 beats longer. For a few beats, the bass clarinet comes to the fore, playing a twisting chromatic line below more nebulous harmony. From it, the oboe emerges again for the second phrase of the theme. Although the melody is quite different, both the harmony and the melodic relationship to that harmony is the same, transposed down a whole step to F minor in the melody, B flat minor 9 in the harmony. The oboe's phrase ends at an F as the harmony progresses to E flat minor 9. Overlapping this, the flute takes over the melody's F and falls in an E flat minor arpeggio, landing on a trilled D. Here, the harmony is realized melodically, becoming E flat major, and settling onto D major, the dominant of G minor, where we started, as the oboe offers a concluding idea. It was here that I elected to insert the Ice Warriors segment, separating the repetition of the theme as it occurred in Evil of the Daleks. This iteration of the theme is in A minor, which echoes the introduction's key. Of course, apart from the transposition, it's essentially the same, until the end of the theme's first phrase, where earlier there was a chromatic melody and rhythmic stretching. Simpson takes this cell and repeats it 3 times by transposition, almost, building the drama. The shape recalls also the harmony underneath, clarifying 3 of these cells as dominant flat 5 chords with chromatic suspensions preceding them. The second of the 4 is the odd one. While it resolves to E flat augmented, the suspension briefly suggests diminished harmony. An unsettled A half diminished chord concludes this short cue and allows the arrangement to pivot back into the full theme, which is literally repeated. When this second performance of the theme is finished, the coda that I mentioned earlier follows. Except for a few rhythmic alterations, it's a close transposition to F minor of the introduction. It tries to bring the piece to an end, reaching a G augmented chord. Here, the true coda of the piece begins, and the spotlight shines on the single note adieu melody from Fury from the Deep. Although I wasn't initially convinced, I now find this to be a sweet, moving conclusion to Victoria's theme. This melody begins as the theme always does, here transposed to B flat minor. The melody departs from its earlier shape at the chromatic move from the tonic B flat up to C flat. And here, the melody takes a melismatic, improvised character turn. The melody has hints of the underpinning harmony, and here's my sense of it. C flat 7 is outlined first. Then F half diminished, which could be from D flat 9. Then color shifts to D major and F major. Before returning to a final hint of G flat major that never arrives. As you know from the Masters theme, Simpson soon wrote more character themes and motives into his Doctor Who scores, and you won't be surprised to hear that I'll be performing some of those in the near future. Thanks very much for watching episode 16, part 2 of the Dudley Simpson is Doctor Who project. I'll be recording more Doctor Who music from Studio JJ, or maybe we'll be released someday. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. See you next time.